Check that out. I mean, it looked like it's growing in nicely, This is the first video that I'm doing actually with the goatee. And if you follow me on Facebook at Yahanse George, aka YG Nyghtstorm, I put up a picture of me. I took a picture and I put up a little poll to ask, my friends and family and followers and subscribers, what do you think of the goatee? Because normally, if you've been following my videos for years, I always rock the clean cut look, maybe a little bit of something, that little soul patch right here. But I'm actually growing it in and my gray hairs are coming in. And I asked the question, should I keep the goatee or should I just cut it off, and should I actually keep the gray or color it? And 99.999% of everybody said keep it as is, just keep it trim. So what do you think? Drop that down in the comments. But y'all aren't here to look at my goatee. You're here to hear my opinion about the movie of the month for March 2021, coming to America. Not coming to America 2, but actually coming to America. 30 years after the original classic, Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, a whole litany of an incredible cast, and also the addition of the incredible Wesley Snipes. So my opinion of this movie, and I know the critics tried to crap on it and say, oh, it's not good, it's not good. Anytime the critics don't like something, you know it's good. Anytime the critics love something and Rotten Tomatoes be giving it this huge score, especially for all this crazy, woke stuff, it's bad. But let me tell you something. I really enjoyed this movie for several reasons. One, production quality. The production quality was incredible. Even though this is a Paramount/Amazon type film, it did not have that low budget look. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You see some of the older movies or a lot of the black movies, you see a lower budget, and that doesn't mean a lower quality, but you can see a lower budget, and sometimes you do see a lower quality. But this movie right here, the production value was 2 thumbs up. It was incredible. The acting, number 2, the acting was also very well done. The script was well written, and in the places where you're supposed to get mad or kind of shake your head and scratch your head, you do. In the places where you're supposed to be like, yes, I can see where this character has matured to the point where they need to be to push the story along. And 3, you can see where the climax is, where the characters all come together for a common goal to make things right, to make sure the story ends appropriately. It was incredible. But my favorite part of the movie is when James Earl Jones, and if you haven't seen the movie, okay, you got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, spoilers coming. When James Earl Jones, the king, said, I want to attend my own funeral. Now, who thought about that? That is an incredible example of actually getting your flowers while you're alive. A lot of people say, I wonder what my funeral would be like. I wonder who would show up. I wonder how people really feel about me, if they really appreciate my life. And the best way to see that, a homegoing, is to actually be alive and attend your own funeral. Now, even though, he had Gladys Knight there, he had just so many people, so many celebrities coming. And of course, he had, the voice of God himself, Morgan Freeman, speaking. The whole thing, the whole pomp and circumstance, the whole celebration of his life was incredible.
I'm like a B-body with a Denzel face, force moves like whole face on his own money. He's good in every hood and he's got his own country. He looking like a male every time I see him. I love the enemy, the other kings couldn't be him. He dresses like a dapper don, but even in jeans, he's a god set original. original, the king of my dreams. What a king. What a king, what a king, what a king, what a mighty good, so good.
And then he looked to his son and he said, now I can die because I've seen it. And I think people need to start implementing that. If you know you have a terminal disease and you know your time, your sunset is coming, I think it's a good idea to have a funeral for someone while they are alive so they can see and celebrate their life with all of their loved ones and people that care about them. Of course, he's the king. There was plenty of people who was kissing up to him, but there were a lot of people who honored his strength, his integrity, his leadership on making sure the kingdom ran effectively and prosperously for decade after decade after decade under his watch as he followed in his father's footsteps. You could definitely see a lineage of kings in this movie, of strength, of compassion, for your country. But also they addressed some things in the movie of sexism, and women can't own businesses and women can't be leaders. And I honestly think they addressed this artistically. They took a look at a king who became king once, Darth Vader died, but he became king, he ascended to the throne, and he had 3 beautiful daughters. Now, I feel this because, some old YG, I got 3 beautiful daughters. I got 4 sons, 3 beautiful daughters, all of them grown. But all of my sons, I trained them to be strong, and all of my daughters, I trained them to be strong as well. And with the king, his daughters all knew martial arts. They knew how to defend themselves and the kingdom at a moment's notice. And during the movie, you can see the progression of how those skills came to be. But the oldest daughter, who wanted to be the heir to the throne, was told, because of society said, because you're a woman, you can't have the rulership. And it was a tradition that had gone on for as long as the line of kings had consisted. But the wonderful thing about this is that even though a king went back to America to find his bastard son, whom Leslie Jones pretty much date raped. And I'll tell you this, man, I don't know if you could reverse Me Too people, okay, with women who date rape men. She basically blew some weed in his face. He got high. He didn't know where he was. And then, she took care of her business and she got pregnant, which is wrong. That was date rape. Let's just call it. It was date rape. But according to the movie, yes, it's supposed to be ha, 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 ha. But it was date rape. So now she got an illegitimate son. And she didn't know that this man was a prince, but she just had sex with this dude on a whim, unprotected, got pregnant, all kind of no stuff. But let's just look at it as a movie. She got pregnant with a kid. He's 30 years old. He's out here in the world trying to make something of himself, trying not to fall into the regular stereotypes of young black men coming out of Queens, or just young black men, period. Pants sagging, don't want to do nothing, lazy. He's trying to fight that stereotype, even though sometimes the way how he was dressing, he actually, fulfilled the stereotype. But the way how the movie was saying, he wanted to come up from his circumstances and improve his life for himself, his mother, and his family, his local family that lived there. And then all of a sudden, Akeem comes in and say, hey, I'm your dad, goes to visit with the mom. She confirms that he the daddy. They fly back to Africa, and I'm about to say Wakanda, but Zamunda. They fly back to Zamunda, and the culture embraced them, even though they had a hard time just coming into the culture because it was so different. But now the culture embraced them. And I'm not going to give all of the movie away, but I would just say this. It was a clash of different cultures of African-American culture, from the cities, as opposed to African royalty, in a legitimate country, in a legitimate power on the world, where this king commanded, respect, and he had a presence about him, James Earl Jones. But unfortunately, Akeem did not have the moxie of his father, but he learned to have strength in different ways in empowering his children. Now, even though he had a long way to go, but this movie is definitely worth watching And it is worth seeing how, not just how fathers can empower their sons, but also how fathers can empower their daughters so they do not fall for what society says to them, that you are too weak, that you just can't do. And I'm not talking about feminism. We're not talking about feminism here. We're just actually talking about strong parents, especially fathers, Black fathers, pushing that life, pushing that strength, and encouraging their children, taking accountability of your actions and going back and get your son and take care of him regardless of the circumstances, taking care of that child, but also recognizing the strength of your legitimate children, your daughters, especially the oldest, who trained all of her life to protect Zamunda, and she became the rightful heir to the throne, which it should be. It shouldn't fall with just the son. It should fall to whoever is worthy. So, that being the case, I enjoyed the movie. I'm going to watch the movie again. And I know I've been taking a break from videos. I've been making sure I've been hanging with my family, taking care of my children, and going back and forth from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta is crazy. But I want to say this to all the parents, all the fathers out there, because, you know, the moms get so much love, and we appreciate mothers. Whether you Black, white, Jew, Gentile, don't care. We appreciate moms. But I want to give all these dads. This was a dad-daughter type movie. And it was a dad-son type movie. And so many issues was addressed. But at the end of the day, being an incredible father will bring not only blessings to your children, to the community, to the country, but it will bring an incredible blessing back to you. So that's my thing, Coming to America 2. I loved it. Enjoy it. Watch this movie with your kids, whether they're little or whether they're grown. It was the perfect complement to the original. Now, it's not as good as the original, but I would tell you this, you know, nothing can be as good as the original. The original is in the top 5 movies of all time, especially of Generation Xers who came up and watching these movies throughout the 20th century and at the end of the 20th century of cultural significance. Coming to America is just one in the top 5, along with Animal House and a couple of other movies that, you know, but Coming to America was incredible. And this was an appropriate sequel. So God bless everybody. God bless our wonderful country. God bless you and everyone you hold dear. And I'll see you next time. And I'm gonna continue to grow the goatee out. Y'all tell me if I should keep it, if I should cut it. Most people say don't color it, but just let the gray hairs grow in and show you wisdom. Because Lord knows I done earned these grays. But I love you guys so much. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye.